The following is a Red Apple Podcast Network presentation.
They say this is a big rich town. I just come from the poet's part. Bright light, city life, I gotta make it.
Welcome to Dominic Carter's podcast. This is Dominic Carter's City Hall. Now, here's Dominic Carter.
Red Apple Podcast Talk Radio 77 WABC. Catch me, Dominic Carter, live weekdays at 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern, and again live weeknights, midnight to 1 a.m. Plus, don't miss the Sunday night edition from 11 p.m. until 1 a.m. You can listen by downloading the WABC app for free or streaming live at WABCRadio.com. WABCRadio.com. The flash flooding situation. This is my podcast. Let's go. The July 4th flash floods slammed Central Texas, claiming at least 135 lives, with many still missing weeks later. The destruction didn't stop there, sweeping through multiple states before reaching us. Water surged into the subway system. Parts of the FDR Drive looked like a mini lake. And in New Jersey, devastation, where Governor Phil Murphy declared a state of emergency.
You know, last night we got crushed, not just here in Berkeley Heights, but in this part of the state in particular. Sadly, 2 losses of life in Plainfield in a vehicle that was swept away, and they sadly, the deceased were extracted.
And Murphy said out loud what many of us are already thinking. These disasters are happening more often, and they're only getting worse.
This is, you know, we're seeing more of this, and the intensity is so more frequent and more intensity. I think Angie and her team said 6 inches of rain in under 2.5 hours in 2 waves. Importantly, one wave sort of knocked a lot of these communities a little bit off kilter, and the second one came in for the kill.
But again, in Texas, at least 135 people dead, almost as many still missing. Weeks later, the floodwaters tore through summer camps, riverside homes, campgrounds, and RV parks. Search efforts could carry on for months. Yes, there were positive stories, like here, as told by Texas Congressman Chip Roy.
One of the little girls from our school, thankfully, praise the Lord, was found. She floated on a mattress for 3 hours yesterday morning, and we just got the text notice that she survived, and we've located her and that she's safe and sound. So we're hoping for stories like that, but obviously we're deeply concerned about the remaining little girls that we've not found.
But many of the accounts are of the extreme, what people had to do to survive, as even some young people prepared for the absolute worst, putting name tags on themselves.
I put on my name tag because I was scared that if water's coming out next to our other cabins, that our cabin might be next. And I just put it on just for safekeeping, saying in my head I was saying, if something does happen and I do get swept away, at least I'll have my name on my body.
In light of what happened in Texas, I will never understand why some look for situations like this. At least 135 people dead to slam others. And of course, President Trump is a lightning rod for such ridiculous criticism. Let's focus on this stupidity for a moment. But at the end of the day, didn't your mother teach you if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all? Rosie O'Donnell, you don't even live in the U.S. anymore, but yet you quickly blame Trump.
And what a horror story in Texas. The flash floods in Texas, and more missing. Children at a camp. And you know, when the president guts all of the early warning systems and the weathering forecast abilities of the government. These are the results that we're going to start to see on a daily basis because he's put this country in so much danger by his horrible, horrible decisions and this ridiculously immoral bill that he just signed into law. As Republicans cheered, people will die as a result, and they've started already. Shame on him. Shame on every GOP sycophant who's listening and following the disastrous decisions of this mentally incapacitated POTUS.
Then there were the sometimey allies like Joe Scarborough of MSNBC indirectly blaming Trump.
But it seems to me, David, there's just a bigger question as we move forward for the next flood, the next storm, the next hurricane. And we've been talking about this an awful lot over the last 6 months. The group of people that put together Project 2025, the group of people in Washington that have talked about cuts. Well, they're talking about cutting 8-9% of the budget. And we've always said this, the 8 or 9% of the budget that is actually what government does to help people, to save people's lives beyond defense, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and interest on the debt. There was one story I read this weekend about a county commissioner. They wanted to get sirens and first alert systems for the area most affected. And the county commissioner just said, on the local level, we don't have $50,000 to have an early emergency system.
And this clown out of Houston even went racial.
I know I'm probably going to get canceled for this, but Camp Mystic is a whites-only girls' Christian camp. They don't even have a token Asian. They don't have a token black person. It is a all-white, white-only, conservative Christian camp. If you ain't white, you ain't right, you ain't getting in, you ain't going, period. And I think that context needs to be said in this matter.
But Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, who was in Texas immediately, rightly called out the critics, especially those in media like CNN.
CNN is basically got a report accusing you of slowing the process.
Yeah.
Would you like to respond to that?
Well, there you go. Fake news. CNN, again, is absolutely trash what they are doing by saying that, because our Coast Guard, our Border Patrol, BORTAC teams were there immediately. Every single thing I was on, they asked for, we were there. The governor and the emergency management director, Nim Kidd, are fantastic. And nobody there has said anything about that they didn't get everything that they wanted immediately or that they needed. And I'm proud of the work that we've done to support that. But, we've got flooding going on in New Mexico as well, right. North Carolina. So I've been visiting with their leadership team and spent quite a bit of time on the phone yesterday with the New Mexico governor, getting them resources as well. And that's what we do. And the fact that CNN is continuing to be political and push out fake information and false information and lies is not shocking, but it's a disservice to the country. It's a real disservice to the country because people start to mistrust anything that comes out then over the news. And then, well, that's true. Yeah, but they just don't trust anybody anymore.
Meteorologist Joe Bastardi appeared on the Laura Ingraham show and said it was ridiculous to blame the Trump administration.
Did any of this have to do with DOGE cuts?
Absolutely not. The National Weather Service did a stellar job. 2 days before, I read a lot of discussions coming out of the Weather Service. We have very talented people that are working at these Weather Services office. And 2 days before they were outlining it, they issued the flash flood watch 12 hours in advance, the warning 3 hours in advance. Contrast that to the Estes Park flood back in '76 in Colorado that killed 144 people. Same kind of channeling of water with stalling thunderstorms. The first flood warning was not issued till 3 or 4 hours after the flood was going on. So that's absolutely, they were all ready for it. They understood their duty. And a lot of the guys that work in these Weather Service offices, they look at themselves the same way as people, that are in the Army, that they're trying to, help their country. And they did a great job with this, but how do you get that warning out at 1:30 or 2 in the morning? And you got to understand, folks, this area of Texas, from Del Rio to west of the Metroplex, is known as the Flash Flood Alley. Okay, Kerr County, 1987, July 16th, had the same thing. The Guadalupe River went out of control. Medina, Texas, a dying tropical storm, dumped 48 inches of rain. Then the next day went up to Shackelford County and dumped 30 inches of rain. Your daughter goes to A&M. I grew up down there. My dad went there. I can remember Tropical Storm Abby came in 64. The darn Brazos River was a mile wide. That's how fast the water comes up in Texas. And it's any mountainous area, this will happen. We had it here in Pennsylvania, the Johnstown flood, July of 77, 12 to 16 inches of rain in a 6-hour period and broke all the dams around Johnstown. It was a disaster. This is part of what happens with the majesty of the atmosphere. It's capable of doing things, and you have a lot of people that don't understand that.
In all of this heartache, the critics are still there. Enough of them. In Texas, there were plenty of heroes that did not make it. One TV account of a 27-year-old man, 27 years old, who died while saving his fiancée, children, and mom. This from KHOU 11 News in Houston.
It just started pouring in. We had to fight the door to get it closed just so that too much didn't come in. And we ran back to the room and we started calling 911.
Julian's fiancée, Christina Wilson, says after 20 minutes, the water was up to their knees. Julian punching open a window to try and get her, their children, and his mother to the roof.
It severed his artery in his arm, almost cut it clean off.
Christina says they kept calling 911, but no one came in time to save him.
About 6 o'clock, my husband was dead. He had lost all of it, all his blood. He looked at me and the kids and my mother-in-law, and he was like, sorry, I'm not going to make it. I love y'all.
Christina says she found her fiancé after the water receded, but his body wasn't recovered for hours. Now, loved ones remember the man they call a hero.
He was the hero out of this story.
Especially when they told him my brother is dying. They should have went to him first. I mean, that's how I see it.
He's just the kindest person I've ever met in my life, and I will forever love him no matter what.
The four stand together, saying more needs to be implemented to never let this happen again.
All four of you, do you guys think that flood sirens would have saved lives in this situation?
Most likely.
Yes. Yes.
They would have been, everybody would have been worried, what's that noise, what's that noise?
We would have left. We would have went anywhere else. We have so many places we could have gone that were safe.
In Kerrville, I'm Amanda Henderson, KHOU 11 News.
Some of the heroes that are alive: Coast Guard Petty Officer 3rd Class Scott Ruskin from our area, New Jersey. He's 26 years old, a rescue swimmer for the Coast Guard, and this was his first mission ever. He's being called a hero after rescuing 165 people.
I got on scene, boots on the ground at Camp Mystic. Kind of discovered I was the only person there as far as like first responders go. So yeah, I had about 200 kids mostly, all scared, terrified, cold, having probably the worst day of their life, and I just kind of need to triage them, get them to a higher level of care, and get them off the flood zone with a lot of the US-60 Army helicopters.
Ruskin was even singled out by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Secretary Noem praised him for his efforts as the only triage coordinator at the scene of Camp Mystic, and he even appeared on Good Morning America.
Scott Ruskin joins us now. Scott, thank you for joining us this morning. Tell us what happened.
Hey, good morning, everyone. So I'll kind of give you guys a quick synopsis of what was going on. The Coast Guard launched us and decided to send a rescue crew from Air Station Corpus Christi at about 6:30, 7 a.m. on Friday, the 4th of July. I just happened to be on the duty crew with Ian Hopper, Blair Rochefort, Seth Reeves, some of our crew members in the Coast Guard. And they sent us out. We kind of encountered some pretty serious weather, some of the worst flying we've ever dealt with personally. It took us, which should have been an hour flight, probably took us about 7 or 8 just to get into the landing zone. Once made about 4 different approaches trying to get in, we were able to get boots on the ground with the Air National Guard, Department of Public Safety for Texas, game wardens. And when we decided to leave me on scene at Camp Mystic, that was kind of our main triage site we were trying to help out with. And we decided, hey, if we leave the rescue swimmer on scene, we'll have more space in our Dolphin MH-65. So based on that, I got on scene, boots on the ground at Camp Mystic. Kind of discovered I was the only person there as far as like first responders go. So yeah, I had about 200 kids mostly, all scared, terrified, cold, having probably the worst day of their life, and I just kind of need to triage them, get them to a higher level of care, and get them off the flood zone with a lot of the US-60 Army helicopters.
Talk about how that works. You got 165, close to 200 kids there. How do you get them out? Just one by one?
Yeah, sir, it's a great question. So the United States Army National Guard was landing their 60s with Task Force 1, some of their rescue swimmers, and they were able to land. We kind of came up with 2 different landing zones. There was one off an archery field and then one at a soccer field. So yeah, we were able to kind of land those 60s in there. And then I was kind of the main guy as far as like grabbing people, usually like 15 to 10 kids at a time, maybe one adult with them, and bringing them over to those 60s and getting them to a different LZ that was kind of safe and had more first responders than just myself out there.
Had you ever done this before?
No, this is my first one. I haven't had any cases before. I've been a rescue swimmer for about a year, fully trained for about 6 months. So yeah, this is my first experience, but I really just kind of relied on the training we get. Coast Guard rescue swimmers get some of the highest level training in the world. So really just kind of relied on that, and that, just knowing that any of the rescue swimmers in the Coast Guard would have done the exact same, if not better than me. So
training is one thing, but this was the real deal.
Yeah, this is definitely the real deal, but I just remembered that, when I got on scene, there was, 200 kids looking to someone for some sort of comfort and safety. They don't really know what my experience is or my rank or my age. They just know, hey, this guy's a professional and he's here to help us, and I kind of had to live up to that standard. But yeah, the real heroes, I think, were the kids on the ground. Like, those guys are heroic, and they were dealing with some of the worst times of their lives, and they were staying strong, and that helped inspire me to kind of get in there and help them out.
But again, total devastation in Texas. This, the heartbroken mother of a 21-year-old woman.
The kids came over, they're college seniors in San Antonio, and they came over to celebrate the holiday, and we received a call at about 4 a.m. Aiden's dad, he owns the house, and the kids often came over here, just every other weekend, really, and to ride on the river. But he received a call around 4, and Aiden was asking his dad what he should do, that water was coming in the house, and he then said that he needed to help Ella because she was struggling to stay on they were on the front porch. And he handed the phone to another friend, Joyce, and Joyce said they just got washed away. And then she said, tell my parents that I love them. And then that's the last we've heard from them. And the entire house is gone. It's just a slab left. So we're just desperately just trying to find. We found Joyce and Reese, 2 of the friends have been found deceased, and now we're just trying to recover Ella and Aiden, who were high school sweethearts, my daughter and her boyfriend, and just want to find them.
Well, I'm so sorry, Tanya. I can only imagine how incredibly difficult this is. What are you hearing from authorities or regarding the search efforts?
Well, we're here, we're searching. We're not really, there's lots of people on the ground here coming in and out. There are special forces teams out here, and I've seen Border Patrol teams out here with dogs and volunteer teams. So, honestly, we're not really talking to the authorities. We're all just out here searching. We haven't really stopped.
So who could have predicted what happened July 4th in Texas was headed to our area just weeks later? New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy.
Last night we got crushed, not just here in Berkeley Heights, but in this part of the state in particular. sadly 2 losses of life in Plainfield in a vehicle that was swept away, and they sadly, the deceased were extracted. Thank God no injuries or loss of life here, and we're not aware of any loss of life elsewhere, although we're still in constant communication with a whole range of towns and counties. This was not a power outage event. As we stand here, there are less than 3,000 outages in the state. So thank God that was not an element here. And as Tony said, that would have been a big issue in Berkeley Heights if power had been out. And thank God in most places it didn't go out. We had a home explosion in North Plainfield. Reasons why we're not sure, being investigated, but thank God nobody was home.
Please, folks, pray for all the victims in our area, Texas, and in other states.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Prescription products require completion of an online medication consultation with an independent healthcare provider through the LifeMD platform and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Individual results may vary. Additional restrictions apply at lifemd.com. Read all warnings before using GLP-1s. Side effects may include a risk of thyroid C-cell tumors. Do not use GLP-1s if you or your family have a history of thyroid cancer.
Confused on where to start with weight loss medication? See the lowest prices available with or without insurance for Wegovy, Zepbound, and more at TryLifeMD.com. 95% of LifeMD patients said starting their weight loss journey was simple. Listen to Tara's story after losing 42 pounds.
You just take your shot. It doesn't feel like you're on a diet. What I wasn't expecting it to do was to shut off the food noise. I've gone from 237 to 195. This was life-altering, and if I can do it, I feel like anybody can do it.
Get your free insurance benefits check in minutes right now at TryLifeMD.com. Nearly 96% of patients said they would recommend the LifeMD program to anyone who wants to lose weight. Get started right now at TryLifeMD.com. That's TryLifeMD.com.
And that is all the time we have for this edition. You can catch me, Dominic Carter, live weekdays at 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern, and again weeknights, midnight to 1 a.m. Plus, don't miss the Sunday night edition from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. You can listen by downloading the WABC app for free or streaming live at www.wabcradio.com, wabcradio.com. Red Apple Podcasts, Talk Radio 77, WABC.
I gotta make it. Dominic Carter Socials on Twitter at Dominic TV and Facebook and Instagram. Dominic Carter TV. Email at dominic.carter@wabcradio.com. Until the next episode, be well. And as Dominic always says, stay positive. The glass is always half full, never half empty. Dominic Carter City Hall.